Welcome to the regular meeting of the Osoyoos Town Council on Tuesday, September the 5th, 2017 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. And first we need to the adoption of some minutes. The Committee of the Whole minutes of August the 21st, 2017 and the regular open minutes of August 21st, 2017.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Councillor Campbell, Councillor King. All in favor. Thank you. Next is business arising from prior minutes. So this is from the closed meeting of August the 21st, Town Centre Renewal Plan, and I need a motion to allow this to be taken out of, thank you, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, that the all in favor? Thank you. That the following motion from the closed meeting of August the 21st be read into the regular minutes. And motion IC 121-17 moved by Councillor Rhodes, seconded by Councillor King, that Council confirms staff's recommended task force participants of Joanne Muirhead, JoJo's Cafe, Jamie Elder from Unity, Carla Jorgens from Home Hardware, Marvin Gertner, Best Way Builders, M&E Adventures, Brock Jackson, Bell Media, and Paul Scanlon of Watermark Resort. So we need to have a motion now, or it's done. All right. And is there any introduction of late items? No. So now we need a motion to accept the agenda. Thank you. Councillor Youngberg, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. No delegations, no water matters, and no correspondence, because we've had a long weekend. It's been busy. And next is the Municipal Ticket Information System, and Ms. Van Vienen is on holiday, so Mr. Romenko will deal with this.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Council gave 3 readings to the Municipal Ticket Information System Amendment Bylaw number 1279.13 2017 at its regular open meeting on August 21st, 2017. Animal Control Bylaw number 1316-2016 was adopted in 2016. An amendment was made to the Municipal Ticket Information Bylaw in Schedule 6 to reflect the changes made in Bylaw 1 in 1316. An oversight was discovered when a section of the Animal Control and Licensing Bylaw number 1316 regarding the muzzling of restricted dogs was omitted from the amendment to the MTI bylaw. This amendment adds that section, which is 39.3. The fine previously assessed in 1997 for not muzzling a restricted dog in town was $200. There's no recommendation to change this amount, and it is also being added as a fine that can be reduced by 20% if paid within 30 days. So in terms of options presented to Council, that the Municipal Ticket Information Bylaw number 1279.13 2017 be adopted. 2, that Municipal Information Amendment Bylaw number 1279.13 2017 be referred back to staff for changes. And finally, that the MTI Amendment Bylaw number 1279.13 2017 be abandoned, and staff recommends option number 1.
Thank you.
I'll move number 1.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Seconded. Any concerns about this? No? All in favor? Thank you very much. On to the election bylaw, and that would be Mr. Romenko.
Council gave 3 readings to election bylaw number 1332 2017 on August 21st, 2017. This bylaw replaces election bylaw number 1016, which was adopted in 1996. The Local Government Act has been changed that required general voting day, and since there were other changes required to the bylaw, a new bylaw is being created, and bylaw number 1016 1996 is being repealed. Previously, the date for general local election was the 3rd Saturday in November every 4 years. The Local Government Act now sets the date to be the 3rd Saturday in October every 4 years. The proposed new bylaw reflects this change. Also, since the town now has a population of over 5,000, a second advanced voting opportunity is required. The first is legislated as being the 10th day before the general election. The second would be set between the 10th day before the election and the general voting day. The proposed bylaw delegates the authority to the chief election officer to set the date for the second advanced voting opportunity, but the hours must be between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. according to the legislation. Staff have been looking at dates. Other municipalities hold their second advance voting opportunity, and there's no consensus. However, it is likely that the second advance voting for Osoyoos would happen on the third day before the local election, as it is the most convenient date if council chambers continues to be used for advanced voting. Other changes to the bylaw are housekeeping matters to remove the reference to sections of the Municipal Government Act as is now the Local Government Act. The town continues to have an automated voting machine bylaw as a separate bylaw. There's no implications for the community other than getting an additional voting day. Organizationally none, budget none, significant dates. The general local election to be held on the third Saturday of October 2018. Three options are presented: that the election bylaw number 1332 2017 be adopted, 2, that the election bylaw number 1332 2017 be sent back to staff for changes, and 3, that the election bylaw number 1332 2017 be abandoned, and staff recommends option number 1.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Any opportunity we have to find ways to get more people out and voting and making it more convenient, to me, is a good thing. So having said that, I'd like to move option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes seconding that. Did you need to speak? Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a question about item number C, the budget. If we're adding an additional day, is there no cost attached to that?
There'll be cost attached to that, but we don't know exactly what they are. We don't know what the staffing will be, whether it'll be one, well, it'll probably have to be at least, I imagine, 2, maybe 3 people. So there will be some budgeting costs.
Okay. Just wondering if we should maybe reword the report to
I'll do
reflect
that, yes.
And, yeah, just for, because, a year from now it might make a difference. And
Okay.
So are you suggesting then that we go with option 2? Is what, to go back with changes to add the cost?
no, I think option number 1.
Option number 1
It
is all
doesn't
right?
change the motion, really. It's just
the
changing the
wording in the
report to
report.
reflect.
Does that work, Mr. Romanko, that we adopt this as the way it's written, or do we add something else to it?
No, that's fine, because if I hear Councillor Rose right, he's just concerned about the fact that the budget, there was no budget number provided.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with the motion per se, unless
Okay.
unless you want that unless you want that information before you make the
No, we just need to know that that's going to be part of it, of the whole election process.
Yeah, so
Okay.
even costs to be determined.
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Sewer connection, and that would be Mr. Dinwiddie, whom I'm assuming is Miss Wong, right?
No.
Oh, it's you, sorry. I thought maybe she was going to do it.
No.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Romanko.
At the regular Town Council meeting of August 21st, 2017, Council gave first, second, and third readings to Sewer Connection Amendment Bylaw number 1299.01, 2017. The following amended sewer connection bylaw clearly defines the time period within which a property owner must connect to a town sanitary sewer line adjacent to their property. It also prohibits a property owner from disconnecting from our sanitary sewer or using a septic system for the parcel unless they have written approval from the town. If a property owner fails to connect to the town's sanitary sewer system or disconnects without approval, the town will reestablish a connection at the expense of the owner. This bylaw applies to all properties who utilize the town of Osoyoos sanitary sewer collection system, even if they are outside the town boundaries in the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen. See the attached document for the actual sewer connection bylaw number 1299.01, 2017. In terms of implications, community, elimination of the sewer septic systems within the town of Osoyoos. Organizationally, possible increased demand on the town Vesuvius sanitary sewer system. No budget impacts. Significant dates as soon as possible. Sustainability, improved treatment of septic waste in the town of Vesuvius. Options, 3 options are presented. The town adopts the sewer connection amendment bylaw number 1299.01 2017. 2, council does not adopt sewer connection bylaw amendment bylaw number 1299.01 2017. 3, council requests additional information before making a decision. And the administration recommends town council adopt option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes. Anybody need to speak on this one? No? All in favor? Thank you. Next is Council. Councillor Youngberg, meeting.
No, there's another amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I don't have it in here.
Number 4.
And it's not on here. So is it? It's the separate one.
Yeah.
Okay. And that would be. I don't even have it in my binder. Sorry.
Zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.104.
Where is it? Where the pink thing is. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Oh, this is Ms. Wong.
This is me, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the purpose of this report is to request that council gives first and second readings to the attached zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.104 2017 to add indoor recreation commercial as a permitted use in the C1 downtown commercial zone. To provide an overview of the proposal, the town recently received an inquiry from a business operator who is interested in establishing a simulated virtual sports-related business within the C1 downtown commercial zone. While the proposed business would be considered as an indoor recreation commercial use in the town's zoning bylaw, recreation commercial is only permitted under the C3 highway commercial, C4 tourist commercial, and the CD1 and CD2 comprehensive development zones. As a result, staff has reviewed whether the overall C1 zone may also be suitable for accommodating indoor recreation commercial as a permitted use, which will be discussed in further detail. In terms of policy discussion, with respect to official community plan bylaw number 1230, 2007, applicable commercial objectives and policies in the OCP include the following. Objective 10.2.1, expand and strengthen Osoyoos as a regional service center and major resort attraction. Objective 10.2.3, diversify four-season commercial attractions for residents and tourists. And Policy 10-4, target suitable businesses to the area designated downtown commercial on the OCP map. With respect to zoning bylaw number 1085/1998, the C1 downtown commercial zone permits a fairly extensive range of uses, including retail store, service business, institutional use, laundromat, restaurants, licensed establishments, and public assembly and entertainment use. In terms of definition, recreation commercial is defined in the zoning bylaw as follows. Recreation commercial means any business that provides recreational activities such as, but not limited to, theme parks, mini golf, billiard halls, and arcades. While the above definition encompasses both indoor and outdoor recreation commercial uses, narrowing the use to indoor recreation commercial within an enclosed building in the C1 zone would be compatible with the other general uses that are currently permitted under this zone. Based on a review of zoning bylaws from other jurisdictions and as shown in Attachment 3, a number of municipalities also have provisions for indoor recreation commercial uses in various commercial zones, including downtown areas. In terms of implications for the community, the addition of the proposed use would broaden economic and recreational opportunities as well as promote a mix of uses within the downtown area. Organizationally, if council gives first and second readings to the zoning amendment bylaw, the application will be forwarded to applicable referral agencies and departments prior to a public hearing. Significant dates. If council gives the zoning amendment bylaw first and second readings, staff recommends a public hearing date be scheduled for Monday, October 2nd, 2017 at 4 p.m. rather than September 25th, as most of council will not be available on that date. In addition, if council wishes to give the bylaw further consideration immediately after the public hearing, the public hearing notice will make mention of a special open meeting that will follow the public hearing. In terms of sustainability, the proposed use would contribute to economic sustainability by diversifying the range of businesses and new opportunities. And options before council include option number 1, council gives first and second readings to zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.104 2017 and schedules a public hearing date. Option number 2, council requests any revisions to the amendment bylaw. And option number 3, council denies giving first and second readings to the amendment bylaw, and the bylaw will be abandoned. And in terms of recommendations, staff recommends option number 1.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. This is an interesting one. When these zoning bylaws were established, businesses such as these didn't exist. It's more of a modern-day business. And when I read C1 and I look at public assembly and entertainment use, these are essentially virtual sports. I'm not sure that I see it as recreation in terms of, we're not talking about running tracks, we're not talking about playing sports indoors. And I'm not sure that this concept fits in to C1 or C3. Because it's a very, very new business, and I'm familiar with that type of business. My concern here, and I guess my question is there a way to amend or make changes to C1 to incorporate this type of business? And the reason I ask that is I'd hate to see a great business opportunity like this come to town, which I think is a positive thing for the community, be held up into a long process when I can't clearly establish by reading this where it really should fit. Is there another option here to make this process quicker rather than go through the public hearing process and look at it as C3 zoning?
So
Public hearing, not third reading.
Right, I guess it's got to be C1 zoning.
it's C1 that's being proposed right now. So recreation commercial commercial is already permitted in certain commercial zones.
Okay.
And those zones include C3, C4, and 2 of the comprehensive development zones. So right now, recreation commercial, that use is specifically not mentioned in the C1 downtown commercial zone.
Right.
So because recreation commercial encompasses both outdoor and indoor type of recreation activities, that is why we are suggesting that we include indoor recreation commercial, which would specifically narrow the use to indoor uses, to those that are within a building. So this would, eliminate the possibility of there, being a theme park or an amusement park, in the C1 zone. So because recreation commercial is not included under the C1 zone, we felt that this type of proposed business would fall under the recreation commercial category.
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm confused. I'm not sure why it would. Why that type of concept would be considered recreation.
Mr. Michael?
Well, I think one would have to take a look at what the definition of recreation is. And to me, the definition of recreation is anything a person does in their spare time for enjoyment. So this type of business that is being proposed here, this virtual reality games, really is things that people do in their spare time, very similar to an arcade. That's probably like I would define it as a modern day arcade is what I would only there's different types of games involved. So I think
Skill development.
it's a recreational type of activity.
Okay.
Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Member Cordo. I'll make a motion based on the wording in option number 1, but I do have a question about the public hearing date. Is it possible to move that up prior to the 25th?
We looked at that possibility, but because for a zoning bylaw amendment, there needs to be 2 advertisements in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks. So that would mean if it is, let's say, the week before the 25th, which would be September 18th, that means the advertisements will need to go in the paper tomorrow and for next week, and the timing of the ads. Because I guess today's council meeting is 1 day later because of the long weekend and the deadline for the newspaper advertisements. The timing didn't quite work there in terms of getting the ad, placing the ad, in the paper in time for tomorrow's paper.
So it's not an option, is that what you're saying? Or
So not for the 18th. The public hearing cannot take place on the 18th just because of the timing with the advertisements. So the earliest for the newspaper advertisements would be next Wednesday as well as the following Wednesday. So that was why September 25th was proposed for the public hearing date, unless if there was like another day during that week that is available to council, but I believe, that entire week is not good.
Busy.
Mayor?
Hang on. Councillor Youngberg and then Councillor King.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Aren't we away September 25th?
Yes.
We are.
Yes, so
So-
that's why we suggested October 2nd, which is the week after that week when council gets back.
It's just delaying it.
It's just that there is a bit of a lag there.
If we could maybe have
It's
it
not
before the
possible to
25th.
have
No,
it for tomorrow.
It's
Okay, fair
not
enough.
possible because if this was a normal week,
Monday, we could do
It
it.
could have been,
we save a spot in the paper, and based on council's decision, if the council approves then we have a spot saved in the paper. We couldn't do it this time because the deadline's with the newspaper, so
Right.
we tried to do everything we could, but it's not
so
possible.
we could not advertise on the 11th and the 18th?
No,
we can advertise it on in terms of if it is October 2nd for the public hearing, it would have to be the previous 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Because there is that timing in that the last advertisement in the paper there is that timing there.
Is it 2 advertisements in the
It's 2
paper or 2 weeks?
It's 2 advertisements in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks.
Well, I'm just looking at the calendar. If we advertise next week and the following week, we have the whole week after that to
Have the public hearing.
have the public hearing.
So that would be the week of the 25th of September, right?
No, it would be
No.
the previous week.
it'd have to be,
After
you'd have to
Thursday.
advertise on the 13th and the 20th, and then I guess potentially there would be the 21st or the 22nd. There would be dates available for a public hearing.
I'd prefer to see that.
I believe the last advertisement in the paper, there is that 3-day
So the cutoff has already taken place for,
This
for
week.
tomorrow.
This week.
Yes.
If I could just explain the reason for my questioning. As you're probably aware, the applicant has spoke to me and probably some of the other councillors about not an urgency to get it done, but a willingness to move it up as quickly as possible. So that's my only reason for trying to expedite it and have it during that week.
Mm-hmm.
And his reasons for doing that are preparation time, and he wants to make sure that he's got everything in order and, fairly logical and sound reasoning behind it. So that's the only reason why I'm asking.
Right. Okay.
If the public hearing was on October the 2nd, it could be conceivably okayed that day, and that could and allow him to,
So if the public hearing takes place on October 2nd, we can have a special open meeting right after that will allow for third reading. Because this is also a text amendment that does involve, text amendments do need to go to the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure for approval as well.
so it has to go to them
So-
first before?
Yes, so
Okay.
they do receive the bylaw amendments after third reading. So that would mean it would be the 16th of October, which could potentially be considered for adoption.
Okay.
Is-
So that does change it a little bit. Councillor King, then Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I could support the October 2nd and have it right after council meeting. Have
That's
open
the way it
meeting.
is right now.
Yeah.
And
So I'm just trying to understand is when we
Just,
talk about
if I could just interrupt,
yeah,
I did make a motion.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so-
All right, so
I wanna
we're
speak
just
to that.
speaking to your motion, or have
Yeah.
we had it
I'll
seconded?
be speaking
Is
to
that-
his motion.
I'd like to finish the wording in it
Okay.
once we figure out.
Hang on, so
Yeah.
let's go back to Councillor Rhodes' motion, and then we need it seconded. Have you got that written down? Okay.
Can I make a comment while we're looking at something?
I'm not sure.
Does it affect your motion?
I'm not sure. Hang on.
Well,
So
you've
the
got a
motion-
motion on the floor, so it should be, are you?
The motion is that we have it, can you say the motion again, please, what Councillor
As
Rhodes said?
worded, but instead of saying a schedule, a public hearing date, I'd like to insert either the 21st or the 22nd.
That's a second motion anyway, so
All right, okay, well,
the motion on the floor
So the motion on the floor is to go with option 1.
would be you would have to adopt, or give first and second reading to that bylaw. That's one motion. The second motion then
Is
is
to
to
set the
schedule the
time.
public hearing.
With the
There's two
public
separate-
hearing.
All right, so has the first motion been seconded?
No, I only have Councillor Rhodes.
I'll second it.
Okay, so let's vote on the first motion, which is option 1.
First and
All in
second.
favor? Okay. Now, the second motion about the public hearing date. Did you make that, or did you
Well,
wanted it on the 21st or 22nd?
I don't
Seems
want to
to
make
be.
a motion if it's,
Okay,
22nd's a Friday.
But this question might affect it, so
can I just add
Yeah, go
information
ahead.
that will affect the discussion? According to legislation, the notice must be published in 2 consecutive issues of a newspaper, the last publication to appear not less than 3 days and not more than 10 days before the public hearing. So you need 3 days after the paper comes out. So the earliest it could be
October 2nd.
would be September 23rd, which is Saturday, the 23rd. So that's part of the.
So that will not work. So we can't have it the 21st or 22nd.
Diane asked this question.
Did
I'll
you
go back to
have?
make
I
a
have a
motion,
question.
we have it October 2nd.
Can
Yeah.
I ask a question?
And that actually came in here. Yes, you may ask a question.
Is when we talk about 2 consecutive postings, that has to be in print, a
Yes.
newspaper that has to be a
Yeah.
print newspaper.
That's right.
And that's the only print newspaper
Yes, it has to be.
available.
Yep.
Okay.
Only recognized local publication.
Okay, so are you withdrawing that motion then, that we have it on the 21st or 22nd?
okay, just to be argumentative, 3 days could include the Wednesday, correct?
Paper don't come out till the Wednesday.
But it's out.
Yeah, it's usually out and available.
Is it really going to make much difference in 2 weeks?
Well,
Yeah.
Jim, it's not,
Obviously.
I already
Yeah.
explained my reasoning for having it. The blunt answer to that is yes, I believe it is, and otherwise I wouldn't be debating it with anybody right now.
So we need to have this done by Mr. Manco and Mrs. Hilson. We need to have you decide what would be legally allowed here.
Well, I'm not getting a legal, it says not less than 3 days. Not less than 3 days.
I would hate to have it thrown out because we hadn't followed that rule somewhere.
Well, and this particular is going to transportation as well for review. So I'd like to see all the i's dotted and the t's crossed, and in terms of legalities to ensure that it's going to pass at all levels.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes?
Does that mean that we cannot do final reading on the 2nd as well?
And we could do
Is
it on
that
the
what I'm
2nd
hearing?
of October.
I could potentially ask the ministry and see if that could be a possibility, but it's just that in most cases they do need to, so we would refer it to them. They would give preliminary approval, and then they would have to give the bylaw approval after third reading and before council adoption. So whether they can do that simultaneously, that would be a question for them.
I thought we had that option. I thought that option
It's the option is for zoning bylaw amendments. There is the ability to adopt them along with third reading, but in this case, because it needs to go to the Ministry of Transportation as well, so they do need to give that approval after third reading. I can ask them to see whether they can. It's possible for them, to give a bylaw, it's just like simultaneously. I would have to ask them that.
Could you request that? And if we left it on October the 2nd and we had conditional acceptance from the Department of Transportation based on what we were planning to do, we could possibly deal with it that day after the public
I could
hearing.
ask them as well, yes. So if the public hearing is held on October 2nd, there would be a special open meeting that could be proposed. Anyway, whether it's just for third reading or third reading plus adoption.
Okay.
Yes, I could ask them that.
Are you, Councillor Rhodes?
I got to ask, why are they involved in it? Is it because it's on a highway, provincial highway?
They do need to give approval for any zoning bylaw amendments that are located within 800 meters of an intersection of a controlled access highway, as well as all text amendments, since the text amendments do have the potential to affect properties within 800 meters of an intersection of a highway. So in this case, because of the C1 zone, it's directly fronting onto the highway.
Can I just ask a question? Did I miss something? Why can't this be approved under entertainment use? I don't.
That's what I was getting at.
I don't understand, because it's not an arcade. You're not throwing quarters and nickels and stuff and dancing around and doing things. This is a training center. Mm-hmm. I've been part of the golf training, and it's the same with volleyball and basketball. Any of those sports, this is a skill development process, and so it's entertainment to all levels, from children to adults. And I'm just asking, because I certainly am really well aware of the programs that this applicant is interested in, and it's development. Nobody's going to play a game there. They're going to play, I guess you can say they will play with themselves, but it's because the computer educates their skills. So they'll play with themselves, right? On the computer.
Well, I guess
I just don't understand why it can't be classified as entertainment.
That was my initial point.
Mr. Romanko, how do you suggest we proceed?
It's not indoor recreation.
I would debate that it's not indoor recreation. I guess the question, is entertainment recreation. That's, I think we're splitting hairs here relative to
I think it's a hair.
So can I just add?
Mm-hmm.
So the current definition includes entertainment?
For recreation
C1.
commercial?
No, for C1.
Entertainment use is attached together with public assembly. So public assembly and entertainment use, that is one use. So I see the entertainment part as being part of public assembly. And based on the assembly use in the zoning bylaw, the way it's defined, I don't quite see the proposed business as quite falling under the assembly use.
There's two ands there. So public assembly and entertainment are one use.
I just want to make one.
So it would be like a theater.
If I can.
Councillor Youngberg?
I think this is an example of how we split hairs and sort of disinterest people who are here to bring something to our community. I really see it as that. I really feel that we're trying to create something that's really almost belaboring to him as a simple business person that wanted to create entertainment and skill development for the community. So I think we can go and sort of say entertainment, recreation, and get carried away with it, which is completely, causing a lot of disinterest with him, the applicant. And I just don't see the point. I mean, it's a very simple procedure. It's not anything that's going to indoor recreation. If we have to rezone, if we have to change the bylaw and create an amendment and go through highway approval and public hearings just for the permission to have something that works within the entertainment classification. That's the way I see it, but I understand your point too.
Yeah, so I guess that was why we sort of were proposing this text amendment that would cover the entire C1 zone rather than a site-specific zone, because we felt that indoor recreation commercial would be, could be applied to the entire downtown area. It's just that because entertainment use, it's tied together with public assembly based on the way our zoning bylaw is worded at the moment. And so that was why we felt that, recreation commercial could be a use that could accommodate the proposed business. And that's why, rather than proposing this text amendment as a site-specific text amendment, we're proposing it for more of a general amendments for the entire C1 zone that could potentially, open doors for other business operators in the future as well.
Mm-hmm. But we're actually using this applicant.
Well, we are treating this as a general text amendment application. So this is a general text amendments proposal that we are putting forth.
Can I just say, Mr. Stuckey just pointed out to me that he does put out a newspaper with 1,000 people, a readership every Friday. Is that considered the same thing? It's not. Okay, we just need to
according to
bring that up.
legislation, it's print. Electronic newspaper don't.
No, it is in print. He does have one in print.
But it's not the commonly widest circulated newspaper.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's what it has to be.
Just thought we would check with that. Councillor Campbell.
So, I'm with Councillor Youngberg as far as I want to appear as business friendly and working with new businesses and new business ideas in the healthiest way possible. If the consensus here is that this can't fit under entertainment and needs to go through this process, then I believe we need to do everything we can to expedite it for the reasons I just mentioned. But I also feel that this type of business wasn't considered and didn't exist when the zoning requirements were put together, and I do personally believe it could and should fit under entertainment. I don't see it as a gym or anything like that. I see it as for entertainment, skill development use. If we feel that we could agree that can fit there, then that's the route I think we should go. If not, then we should do everything we can to expedite this process and move it along as quickly as possible.
There are several places downtown in the C1 zoning, obviously, that have had gyms as part of them and pool halls, and I'm wondering how this is different than what we've already seen in this area. in some of the businesses down there. Is it different?
In the cases of gymnasiums, fitness centers, they would be considered a service business because service business, cut your hair, something to do with something to do with applications to the body is
What
seen
about
as
the pool hall that was there?
For example, they've got pool tables. It's an ancillary business, not the primary business.
Okay.
So it's just another activity that occurs as a secondary third use.
Thank you.
So a
Just
gym
wasn't
would be
sure.
considered a service?
It's a service.
Because people pay to go in and use it.
I think
But you just stated that earlier that when you defined recreation, it's what people like to do in their spare time, and I would think going to a gym falls directly under that and fits more into recreation than something like this. I can't see it any other way.
Councillor Rhodes.
Arguments about the amendment are now ineffective because we've already voted on the change, correct? So if we wanted to go back and do it, we'd have to...
You just get first and second reading.
To the bylaw.
Well,
to the
I know,
zoning.
but we're still
We'd have to
arguing.
rescind it.
We're still debating about the amendment. So I'll make a motion that we set the public hearing date for October 2nd.
I'll
Jim,
second that.
yeah.
I'd
Jim
also-
already did that, sorry.
Yeah, I'd also like to, as not part of the wording, but I'd like to insert that we should be prepared to do adoption at that meeting as well, provided it is an option for us.
And that Ms. Wong contact the Department of Highways to get, see if they would
if it's
okay with that?
possible,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with
For
that.
zoning,
So-
it's okay.
And if I could just make one other comment.
Yes,
I'll
first.
second that.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
So I know I'm not the only one that didn't speak to the applicant, but I think that is an acceptable format for him if we can get it done on the 2nd. I think any further delays might cause him some anxiety, but that's what he's told me because, there was a lot of unanswered questions before coming to this meeting, and I think he would be happy with those results.
Okay, so did you have something to add?
Just one question. Transportation permits, are they also going to be available by October the 2nd, would you think? Or is this going to take a little longer? Usually transportation takes up to 6 weeks.
For this one, if council, after first and second readings, this would go out to to any referral agencies that are necessary, and one of them would include MOTI.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we'll see them giving preliminary approval, and so essentially the final approval,
Would be
more of a, will be based on, yes, it would
Public
be based on, it would take place after third reading, but it would be pretty much the same. They would have seen the bylaw beforehand already when they would have given preliminary approval.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So based on my experience, usually their turnaround times are relatively quick. They, for simpler zoning bylaw amendment proposals.
And you could contact them right away?
I'll
After-
speak to them and
Yeah.
see whether it's they can,
Okay.
whether they would be all right with us doing potentially adoption on the same day as well.
Give them our concerns?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
One last question. Based on your experience, is this more of a formality for this type of application?
For MOTI, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've had it moved and seconded that we go ahead with the public hearing on October the 2nd and have third reading and adoption at the same time. Is written into the bylaws, into the motion as well? Okay. So, all in favor? Thank you very much. Well, thank you. That was an interesting discussion on that, and the simplest things can cause a great deal of concern sometimes, can't they?
And
Okay.
sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights? No, you're going to have to get back to having better sleeps, Councillor Rhodes. Okay, next is the meeting report for Councillor Youngberg. Councillor Youngberg has attended 4 meetings in Ottawa. Thank you, Ms. Huang.
Thank you.
And this was for FCM back in June. So could we, thank you. Councillor Campbell, Councillor King, all in favor of okaying this? All in favor, thank you. Next is the Mr. Paget, our building inspector, the liquor license application, 15 Park Place. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and councillors.
Is your mic on?
Just so you're not going through a deja vu, this is a different application than it was a couple of weeks ago.
I know, I was
Same address.
Exactly the same address. So I
yeah.
just thought I'd put that out there. Anyway, some background. The owners of the existing wine bar, outdoor patio, and conference center at the Watermark Hotel have applied to the liquor licensing branch for a change to their existing license. The applicant is specifically requesting hours of liquor service that extend past midnight. The hours of service the applicant has requested are from 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. 7 days a week. Staff have received Part 11 of the application, which serves as notice that an application for a change to an existing license is being made within our community and is requesting hours of liquor service past midnight. The branch requests that council consider the extended hours and provide the branch with a resolution within 90 days of the receipt of this application. It also states that local government can delegate staff with the authority to provide comments. Comments or resolutions should indicate whether the local government has gathered the views of residents and provide a description of the method used to gather those views. Alternatively, local government may choose to not provide comments, in which case the branch will gather public input and may contact local government staff for information to assist the branch in considering the regulatory criteria. Implications here for the community may have an effect on the community, residents living in close proximity to the establishment, and emergency responders. No organizational implications or budget, no significant dates, and nothing under sustainability. Options: council may direct staff to provide comments to the branch regarding the application. Or number 2, council may opt out of leading a public consultation process and direct staff to provide comments on the to the liquor control and licensing branch should the branch request assistance. And staff recommendation is staff recommend that council select option 2.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Having been away from the last meeting, but I certainly grabbed a bucket of popcorn to watch the debate that took place, and actually needed a second bucket of popcorn because it seemed to have gone on for quite a long time. I think there's no option but to be consistent here in our approach to this. So based on that, I'm recommending that council select option number 2.
Councillor King.
Make a comment.
Absolutely. Are you seconding the motion first?
Yeah, I'll second
Okay.
it.
And did you want to speak to it?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess just the way this one's written compared to the other one, this to me only sounds like we have to pass a resolution that we've received this application. It doesn't say we have to go out to the public or anything.
No.
The way I read this in the first paragraph. So it kind of, when you make your option on number 2, you're talking about may opt out of leading a public consultation, but they're not asking us to do that in your write-up.
Yeah, there.
I believe that
Yes,
they
they
were.
are. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, they're looking for a resolution from council in regards to this application.
Mr. Paget, this is the same type of
We just passed
request.
a resolution, we accept
It's
it.
exactly the same.
It's exactly the same.
Okay, it is. It just worded a little different.
So we went through this the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
time with
yeah.
the,
Yeah,
yes, big
simplify
time.
it a little bit this
And
time.
so when I went back to look, it's exactly the same resolution that we passed the last
Okay.
time.
Yeah, word for word.
Yeah. Okay. So all in favor then of option number 2? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is the notice of motion. No. Council
Payroll?
report payroll. Okay, I'm down here. General net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts to report on expenditures from accounts payable for council approval and payroll information. General cash requirements of $747,004.64, and Sunbowl cash requirements of $40,035.58, and those will both be done by consensus. And net payroll accounts of $95,715.51, and that is for info. Right, okay, and next we have committee reports. The waterfront steering, and we have quite a good report here on the Gyro Park Pier and Walkway. Councillor Rhodes, you were at the meeting. Is there anything you'd like to add to this? Looks like you talked about quite a few things.
Well, I don't really want to add anything. I would like to just emphasize to anybody that's either watching on Granicus or hears about this in the future. This is a huge project in our community. It's going to be an awesome amenity for everybody that lives here, and of course for all of our visitors and everybody that comes. And one of the ways that our committee members have gathered the information to move forward with this is not necessarily through public consultation at this point, but certainly input from a fair amount of people in our community that have had different ideas and opinions about things. And, it really has helped steer this committee down the right path to this point. So I would really encourage anybody that has any ideas or opinions to read this over. I mean, the whole project is way more in depth than this one report. But certainly any questions or input or any ideas or opinions, I would sure like to hear from them, or they can get in touch with our planning department or Councillor Campbell or anybody else for that matter, and just kind of let us know where we're heading and what direction we're going in. And it's just one of those kind of projects where input from people is so important, and these things have a tendency to be way more successful when you have more people involved in it.
Absolutely. So. Thank you. I was interested in the part about the hand railing. My assumption is that it was a possibility that it would be metal, and you obviously in this heat that could be quite dangerous. So is that why the pictures of the wooden ones are included in there?
Yeah. The pictures of the wooden handrails are of the pier that's in Penticton. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we're trying to do right now is balance not only the aesthetics but the construction of the pier with how it's going to turn out in the end and how the budget is going to look as well. Regrettably, some of the design features of the metal railing and that kind of thing probably would be at the upper end of cost. It would be hard to really see anything that could be more expensive than that. So we haven't totally discounted it, but we kind of sort of have.
The other concern is rather than leaving your handprints on a railing, you could be leaving a railing print on your hand.
Yes, exactly. So I think that the final decision has not been made, but it's certainly a movement to move. And I think CAO Romanco has a more contemporary term of how we want this to look than having an industrial pier that is functional and would last for 300 years out there. Something that's a little bit more contemporary and feels a little bit better and that kind of thing, rather than all metal and concrete.
Okay.
And I'll be darned if I can remember what he called it.
Do you remember?
No.
It was kind of a little bit more down-home look than...
So this is available in our minutes. If anybody wanted to have a look at it and make comments, please do. So we need to have the minutes to be received and filed. Okay, so Councillor King, Councillor Campbell, all in favor. Thank you. And next we have the CAO report.
Thank you. Just a few things that the administration's being involved with. We're starting community services and then told to have a bunch of reminders here for the public. First of all, a reminder that Participate as So-Use is scheduled for September 13th at the Sonora Community Center from 5:30 to 8, so people can come in and register for all their their fall and winter activities. The Terry Fox Run is scheduled for Friday, September 15th. Thank goodness it's Saturday, which was thank goodness it was Friday before. Starts on September 23rd at the Sonora Community Center, and the annual pass sale runs between September 13th and 20th with a 30% discount. In terms of corporate services, the administration of municipal tickets continues to take up a lot of time, and also our work on our filing system. The director attended a flood management meeting at the regional district, and although not a briefing, there was a very good discussion on a series of events that went through the flooding this spring, and a good idea exchange. Bylaw continues to work with some encroachments on town lands and boulevards, and aggressive dogs seems to be taking up a lot of time as well. In terms of finance, good news in that we have no delinquent tax properties remaining, therefore no tax sales will be scheduled for this year. And in terms of non-payment of taxes, we're at 40 properties, and that leaves a tax arrears of about $90,000, which is not unusual at this particular point in time. In terms of public works, general work continues with our beach cleaning and mowing and street sweeping and fixing various irrigation systems throughout the parks. We did have only one bid received for contract number 3 of the rural twinning project. Therefore, we're not going to be bringing this tender to council at this time. That tender was probably $300,000 over budget. So we are going to be looking at retendering and looking at a spring project. Apparently, it's very difficult to find contractors at this point in time. Currently reviewing 2 bids for renovations at the public workshop, and the fencing at the landfill should now be completed. In terms of myself, I'd like to start by just wishing a great big thank you to all our summer students that contributed to our community over this last few months. These young people, most of them that live in town and grown up in town, certainly help us out in our recreation programs and our public works, and they are a tremendous help to us, and we look forward to them joining our team every year. With the summer being gone, they're gone now too. So we continue to work on the new fire department bylaw, which is targeted for October 2nd for council's first review. Also looking at preparing business plan and budget process for 2018, and also just working on the request for proposal for the town hall building assessment. That's my report for today.
Thank you very much. Could we have a motion to accept the report, please? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg. All in favor? Thank you. And our council reports. First is Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a quick thank you to every one of the residents in Osoyoos, and every visitor and every tourist and every family member that's been here since the beginning of the summer. Thank you very much for coming here. You contributed to our community in a very positive way. And, you know, as we wind down the summer, and we still have a fair amount of it left here, I just wanted everybody that may be listening to this, and I know there's just tens of thousands of people viewing today, and this will, really, you know, coming to our community is such a good thing, and we, you know, as residents and people that live here, you know, sometimes it seems like we're a little testy or a little feisty or whatever adjective you want to place on it, but we're not really. We really do appreciate everybody that comes here. The other thing I wanted to mention is over the last 3 or 4 months, I've been in this town every day. I don't think I've gone out of town. And when I walk outside and look up in the sky, I see all kinds of really positive things going on. We've had beautiful, rain-free days in our community. It's been warm, the weather's been predictable, and people have been able to enjoy everything in this community. One of the negative things about media that sensationalizes things is that you paint, when you use a broad stroke, you paint every community in this province with the same brush. And I'm speaking in particular about global news, and they're labeling the South Okanagan as the Smokanagan or whatever other ridiculous term that they've come up with. And I wanted them to know, and I'm sure they're all listening intently to this report as well, I'm not very happy with it, and I wanted you to know that. So my level of unhappiness is when I have my TV remote in my hand, I am no longer watching your newscasts and anything else that you have on there, because there's all kinds of creditable options on the satellite dish that I have. And, you know, it's just not right, you know, when you're not here and you're not experiencing it and you're telling everybody that it's crappy when it's not. And I'll be the first to admit we've had a few smoky days in our community, and we have some right now, so, you know, it's ridiculous to comment on about this particular day, but dozens and dozens of consecutive days of beautiful weather, and not once did I ever hear any comments about the nice days that we had in our community. So that's my little bit of a rant. I had one all written out, and I've sent it off to Global, and there was zero response from them. Nobody even phoned me. You try to contact them about this issue so that you can kind of reverse the reporting process and ask them a few questions about why they were doing it. And it is almost impossible to contact them in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, I thought I'd rant about that a little bit, and I feel kind of good getting it off my chest. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. We usually expect a rant because he's had company all summer, and I don't think he's had quite enough sleep. But anyway, he'll catch up on it now. Councillor Campbell.
I don't know how to follow that. So ditto on the first part of the report as far as it being a really good summer considering some of those challenges that aren't within our control. And just to also point out and recognize the volunteer groups and the people in the community that step forward to enhance that experience. Things like Music in the Park and Market on Main really does add a lot to the community for the tourists and the locals. So I just want to recognize that. I also want to recognize Brody McLean for bringing back a bronze medal to our little town for the National BMX Championships, and to wish our Soyuz Coyotes luck as we go into another hockey season, which will get me out of the house a couple of nights a week, which I welcome. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, as the summer wears down, we've had an excellent summer, and I really want to thank the committee that did put the Music in the Park and the Market on Main Street. They were both very well received, great turnouts, great music, and I just want to encourage everybody also, start next week. The Coyotes are back in action, and we hope to see big crowds out there. So thanks again for the public.
Thank you. Councillor Youngberg.
Thanks, Mayor McCordoff. Definitely dittos about the Music in the Park. My goodness, I'll tell you, it was really well attended this year, and they had great entertainment. For the couple of weekends that I was back in Osoyoos to watch it. And also the respect that some of the business owners have shown the tourists downtown is very, very rewarding in my estimation, and I've seen a big improvement over the years with the type of sort of the permission that they give these tourists to sit outside their businesses and walk and have a drink of coffee and just watch what goes on downtown. It's really nice to see, and the tourists, I think, really enjoy that hospitality and the open welcome that they get from our local businesses. It's really, really nice to see. And just another request that I have for puncture vine. We have a huge problem of puncture vine in our community, and I really would hope that everybody out there would go on our website. There's a great display of what it looks like, how you treat it, and the more you can pick it and get rid of it, the less of a problem we're going to have going forward. So that's about my report. Desert Park, I have to congratulate everybody. on the board for Desert Park that absolutely worked most of the weekend, taking the puncture vine and weed eating and trying to make that facility just a little more enjoyable to everybody in the community. Thanks.
Thank you. So I know that several people have mentioned music in the park, but I'd particularly like to thank the three amigos, Janice St. Louis, Roland Berg, and Alan Blaken and the half amigo, that's Marcel St. Louis, for all that they have done. They brought us 10 weeks of wonderful, assorted entertainment. The largest crowd down there was a couple of weeks ago at 550 people. So that was really good. And they're planning next year already. So I understand that we've already okayed the money. They asked me and I said, I have no idea, but apparently we did okay that. So they're working on that. I attended most of the events, and I'd just like to thank our CAO, Mr. Romanko, for I believe he was there at just about all of them, and showing a commitment to supporting this town. So Carol and Barry were there anytime I was there. So thank you very much. I would like to commend the town. I think it's the time of year, at the beginning of the fall, the gardens look terrific, the flowers look terrific, and I'm just amazed at the flowers in front of Town Hall and in the hanging baskets. I know that a lot of them are planted by one of the greenhouses, but our town staff do a really good job of watering them and pruning them, and really this for the next month is probably the best our gardens will look, because we get a little bit cooler nights, and so that helps. So thank you to all the town staff for keeping this town safe and beautiful for the whole summer. And I understand that while we have fires surrounding us, and we are quite fortunate that we've been sort of kept out of the melee that we see other communities having gone through, but I understand there's a possibility of rain on Saturday, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your summer, because we understand that it's going to go on for another 2 months. Thank you, everyone. Could we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Thank you.